This video is step 6, and it is the final step of the 6-step business systemization plan. And this is the step that determines whether your SOPs become a living system or they slowly decay back into chaos. By now, you've done something most businesses have never done. You've designed the business, you've clarified roles, you've identified and prioritized your processes, you've linked them to people, and you've started writing, training, and implementing. Step 6 answers one final question. How do we make sure this actually sticks? First, let's shift our thinking from how do we get our employees to follow SOPs to how do we enroll employees in the system? Now, this is subtle but critical. The key concept here is enrolling your employees to follow SOPs. They need to understand the importance and value of having the business systematized. Enrollment creates ownership. If you've been following along in this 6-step program, listening to the videos, doing the assignments, maybe you've even read books by Michael Gerber like The E-Myth or Traction by Gino Wickman or Built to Sell by John Murillo, there are many. You know how valuable SOPs can be for you, for the business, and for the employees. But then you walk down the hall and you ask your front desk person to write down everything she does. If this is the first time your front desk person has heard of your interest in processes, he or she doesn't have context. Your request is completely out of the blue. What do you think she's going to think? She's going to be thinking something like, am I about to be fired? Or, I don't have time for this. I'm completely overwhelmed already. Why is he asking me to do this? Or maybe, yeah, the boss is talking to some dumb consultant again. If I just ignore him, this will all go away. You see, without context, it's no wonder they might be thinking these things. They need to understand why processes are valuable, why the company needs them, and what difference they can make. So making sure your people have context, that they understand why you are systematizing the business, what a difference it can make, and what that difference will look like for them, this is critical. Now, in your company, in every company, you're going to see the same pattern. There are adopters and there are resistors. The adopters, they're usually kind of frustrated. They're tired of things like inconsistent answers, poor training, not knowing exactly what to do, not knowing what expectations people have of them, having to reinvent the wheel, fixing the same mistakes over and over again. They're often the ones who've been asking for SOPs. They don't want control. They just want clarity. Resistors, on the other hand, are different. Some worry that SOPs are going to mean micromanagement. Others believe that their job security comes from being the only one who knows how to do something. They might be thinking, if I'm the only one who knows how this works, they can't replace me. That belief is common and completely understandable. So an enrollment strategy is key. The mistake most companies make is trying to convince everyone in the organization at once, and that almost never works. So instead, enrollment happens in phases. In phase 1, start with your adopters. Start by rolling this system out to that list of adopters first. Let them use the SOPs. Let them experience better training. Let them experience better management. Let them experience less chaos. Don't force adoption. Let momentum build. In phase 2, something important starts to happen. They start talking. They stop seeing the same questions happening over and over and over. They start seeing faster and easier onboarding and training. They become more confident. And that talking, that sharing these stories, that credibility matters for phase 3, where you will gradually enroll your resistors. Once that conversation starts building, the momentum starts building, only then do you want to begin enrolling your skeptics. Not by forcing them, but by reframing the purpose of SOPs. Here's the message resistors need to hear. SOPs are not for micromanagement. SOPs are for training and accountability. If you're achieving expectations, there's no need to open up an SOP. But if you're not achieving expectation, the SOP becomes a shared reference, not a personal attack. And we need your assistance to make sure the SOPs are accurate. So as new employees are onboarded, we'll have a quick and easy way for training them. This changes the conversation completely. And this is where mature management shows up. SOPs are seen as a management tool, not as a weapon. Processes allow managers to say things like, here's what good looks like. Here's how we train here. Here's how we manage here. Here's how we improve. Without emotion, without personal judgment, without micromanaging, without blame. So let's now talk about improvement. Continuous improvement does not mean rewriting your SOPs all the time. What it means is that processes are owned, feedback is encouraged, updates are intentional. The people closest to the work should help improve the work, but ownership must be clear. Every critical process should have a clear owner, a clear purpose, and a clear expectation for review. That owner isn't rewriting SOPs constantly. They're simply responsible for keeping the processes current and relevant. There are some companies that we've worked with who review and innovate their processes every 90 days. That is a very high standard. But you should review and innovate at least once annually. At least once annually. Every system should be reviewed and kept current. That's how systems stay alive. So this, by the way, is where TouchStone supports maturity. Processes are visible, ownership is clear, training is tracked, feedback is captured, updates don't get lost. All of your company's information is all in one place. The system enforces consistency. Now, the goal for this 6-step program is getting from SOP chaos to operational independence. That is the destination. But what does operational independence look like? Well, managers are basically managing performance, not from memory. Employees know what's expected. Training is faster. Accountability is fair. The owner is no longer the bottleneck. Specific managers are no longer bottlenecks. That's operational independence. Your action for step 6 is simple, but it's powerful. Enroll your people. Start with the adopters. Build momentum. Reframe resistance. Assign ownership. And improve intentionally. And I'm going to leave you with this one final thought. SOPs don't scale businesses. People enrolled in systems do. So if you've watched this entire series, thank you. You've just walked through how a process-dependent business actually gets built step by step. You've seen how vision, structure, processes, roles, training, and continuous improvement fit together as a system, not as a theory, but as a practical way to move from SOP chaos to operational independence. Some of you are already using TouchStone. Some of you are on a free trial, and some of you have just been learning the framework. If you haven't already tried TouchStone, you can start a free trial using the link below. There's a link in the description below. TouchStone doesn't replace the thinking you've done in this series. It makes applying it simpler, more organized, and far easier to sustain. And if you do try it, you're going to have access to our live support team, real people who can help you apply each step that you've just learned at your pace. And if at some point you decide you want help accelerating this through coaching, process writing, or our SystemsScaping program, I have a link to that program below as well. Those options are there when you're ready. Either way, keep building a business that runs because of processes, not heroics. My name is Michael Mills, one of the founders of Business Design Corporation, and we're the developers of the TouchStone Business System. I look forward to seeing you on the path to operational independence. Thanks for watching.